In front of me, I have the Cramer Optimus CS45. Now, Josh done a video on this a few weeks ago and put it up against the 70cc petrol saw, and he was very impressed. And since then, we've put it up against other saws in that class, and let's just say it has been knocking them out of the water. We have been super impressed, but today I'm trying its smaller brother, the CS36. 36 standing for 3.6 kilowatt, whereas 45 stands for 4.5 kilowatt. So there's a little bit less power, hopefully a little bit lighter, a few other different things on it. So we're going to get it out of the box, see what it's all about, see what's on the inside, see how different it is to this saw, and then we're going to go out and test it to see where they pitch against each other. So I think it's better time get this tape off this box and see what's inside. Right, so it's out the box, it's on the table, and I can already see some differences to the 45 already. Now, the first one is that you've only got single felon spikes on the 36 compared to the 45. You've also got a very different clutch cover here. That's all very different. Even the top plastics are different, but the bodies of the saws are actually quite similar. There's not a great deal of difference in the two. Same display at the back on both, same battery slot obviously, because they all take the same batteries. You've still got your felling lines on both saws. Right, let's take the clutch cover off and see what's different under here. Now, hopefully these are captive nuts, as with the 45, which yeah, they are by the looks of things. So you just undo them, take the clutch cover off, and they don't fall out, which every nut in the world should have that on it. Oh, that's what I like to see straight away. Look, we have a rim sprocket rather than a spur sprocket. So I'm presuming this is also going to be running on a 3/8 chain as well, like the 45, which is very seldom seen in the battery chainsaw world, be running on a proper full 3/8 chain. So that's good. Otherwise, everything looks nice and clean and crisp under there. Not too many, should we say, cavities for all the dirt and crud and sawdust and oil mixture of detritus gripping in there. So I like that nice smooth feel that that saw's got. Obviously, chain catcher there. Now, one thing some people might not know, that this plate on the back on all chainsaws is your foot plate to put your foot on to be able to start it, obviously for a petrol saw. But why do they still put it on battery saws? And that's because it's actually not a foot plate, it's actually another chain catcher. So the idea of this is that your chain catches there if it does come off, and then as it comes back round, it hits that piece there rather than it coming up and hitting into your hand. So that's your secondary chain catcher. Not many people know that. Let us know in the comments if that's new to you or whether you knew that already. So yeah, nice body saw, but I think that is definitely, well, I haven't got the obviously cutting equipment on it yet, but I think it's a bit lighter. Similar body size, but feels right. Okay, so what have we got bar-wise? Bar-wise, obviously you said we've got a 3/8 chain by the looks of it for that. Not overly clear on the side here, but we've got 3/8 by 58 links, is that on there? So yeah, so 0.50 chain, so it's 1.3 mil. 18 inch, that is running a 20 on the 45, so 18 inch on here, 20 on the 45. It's an 18 inch 60cc class saw. Interesting. So here's our 3/8 chain, which on the 45 there is a bit of an odd looking, should we say, raker gauge, depth gauge on that one. I'll do this while I'm here looking. Why does it always happen on camera, eh, James? I was like, no, it happens to us all, James. Don't you worry, don't you panic. Or Josh would be like, I got a tip for that. I'm like an expert at unfolding a chain. There we go, we got there. So now let's pop that onto a bar, like so. Beautiful. Nice, she is on there, James. Look at that. Onto our rim sprocket at the back. Hang her down over. Spin around a little bit, there we go. Nice. And she is on. Right, on with the clutch cover. So in your bag you get your spanner and you get a detritus brush to get into all those little places, which, as I said, there isn't actually that many on this saw. Now when you are tightening a chain on a saw, always just take the weight off of there. You see that movement there? So when you're tightening it up, just take the weight, tension your chain, a little tiny bit more, won't over tighten it, That's nice. And then still holding, you still got that flex in that barlet. Just hold it up while you tighten up your bar nuts. Your captive bar nuts. Now they've been looking at other saws in the market and picking out the best bits, like that cap there, look. You know, let me know what other brand has that flip up cap. Every brand should have that flip up cap. Makes things so much easier. And then also on the bottom, we've got the oil adjustment screw in under there. So it's actually got a nice rubber bung so it doesn't fill up with rubbish. One thing I didn't mention was actually it's running on a Husqvarna small mount, what I'd call it, Oregon bar and chain on it, but obviously the mount that's running on is actually very similar to other cutting equipment that's already on the market, so I think that's a great big plus point. Don't think there's anything else. The little filter, that's on both of them. Little air filter in the battery case there, look. People say, why do you need an air filter on a battery chainsaw? Well, obviously that motor in there still needs to breathe, it needs to get air in there because obviously it gets warm, so that's your nice easily cleanable air filter there. And again, nice, you've got your sort of integral battery on it, so you can put your battery inside the frame. But underneath, you'll see you've got plenty of holes there that aren't going to block up with sawdust and crud in there. So if it does rain, because this is IPX5 rated, so fine for showers and, you know, just being left in the rain for a little while. I wouldn't want to leave it in the rain overnight, but it's not going to turn into a pond like some other saws do on the market. It can then run right out the back and out the way. Anyway, it is now time to oil it up and go and do some cutting. Right, so we're outside and we've got this beautiful 12-inch piece of clean larch. I'm going to do a few cuts down to start with the 36, and then we'll do some with the 45, and then we'll do a time test between the two. Just a few cookies to start with, and then we'll move on to some hardwood logs. Excited, let's do it. If that was a petrol saw, I think you could consider that warmed up. Right, time test. First with a 36 and then with a 45.
3, 2, 1, go! Three, two, one, go!
Now I haven't seen the times on that softwood yet, but you can definitely see the difference between the 45 and the 36. But this has got some definite plus points, which I will talk about at the end of this video. But I think we better pop it through some hardwood, work through on this pile a little bit, taking some of the ends off, and get into that nice bit of what? With 18-inch bar, have we got 16-inch piece of timber there? Can it handle it? Well, soon find out. Just how quickly will be the question, I reckon.
Boom!
So there we have two very similar but very different chainsaws from the Optimus range of Cramer. Now, they both actually state that they're 30 meters per second, so that is the chain speed that's going around. The difference is where the torque lies. Now, the torque of the 36 is 4 Newton meters, whereas the torque of the 45 is 5.2 Newton meters. And you can certainly see there's obviously a bigger motor in the 45 because of the width of the body of the saws. When I got it out of the box, I thought both these saws looked nearly identical. Surely they share a lot of parts, but I don't think they hardly share any, to be fair, because they are so different when you look up close. They're both similar lengths, but the width and breadth of these bodies you can definitely see is obviously a bigger motor in the 45 than there in this 36, but that also boils down to the weight as well. The 36 is a lot lighter than the 45. Now, probably what you're wondering is how long do they last on each battery? Well, on the 36, you can get 71 cuts out of one battery charge, whereas with the 45, you can only get 41 cuts out of the same battery. So obviously that motor is very hungry, but if you want that powerful cutting, then obviously that's the saw you're going to want to go for. If you want something that's going to last a little bit longer, but still be able to do the job, then the 36 is going to be absolutely fine for you. So I think they've both got a place in the market. They've both got differences, more differences than I thought that they were going to. And they also run that beautiful 3/8 gauge chain, which I think is a big win. I can't think of any other battery saw in the market which is running 3/8 chain, and I think it's a big win for Cramer on that basis. But there we are, two lovely chainsaws from Cramer. Let us know what you think in the comments, and would that power relate to something that you want to do? That's what I want to hear in the comments below. Is that the size battery saw that you guys want as customers? Or do you want something a little bit smaller, say like in the 45 to 50 cc bracket? You know, can Cramer cram that motor and system into a slightly smaller bodied saw with a 16 inch bar on it and be a little bit lighter as well? I think that's where the market is probably a little bit more hungrier for battery chainsaws. But what I want to know is that what your thoughts are, or would a 70cc battery equivalent or 60cc battery equivalent suit you? Anyway, we're Machinery Nation. We bring you videos every single week about tools and machinery, so please consider subscribing, hit the like button, ding the notification bell, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheerio.